guess we're not gonna just, yeah. Go right ahead, keep on talking.
Disregard TV. Stand by.
Good John. Big John. There's Big John.
How's everything?
All right.
Sorry, I'm late.
Hi, Mary.
There, we almost started without you.
I started with that.
I forgot my notebook.
This meeting will officially open. First order of business is the acceptance of the minutes of the previous meeting. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll accept the minutes of the meeting, of the previous meeting, if found to be in order.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Board has a meeting with Anthony Marini, Chairman of the Republican Party. Tommy?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Anthony, how are you?
Pretty good yourself. I appear before you again to find out if the town solicitor has come up with a ruling on the issue of appointing the voter registrar. And if you people have had any recourse on that yet.
We received a copy of the law, how it reads in the town charter. And it certainly looks as though you people follow procedure. And not speaking for the board, but I believe that in further on in our meeting, I'm sure that the board will act on it.
Okay, great. That's all I have.
If you want a copy of this, Tony, you get it.
I would appreciate it. Gosh, I can stop by and get one from there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Gary, what was that on for the common victual license?
Register applying for common victuals license. As I told him, we were waiting to get the application. He was on the committee tonight, we just get the feelings of the board and made clear we got a location to set up.
Yeah, I didn't notice. Well, we're a few minutes early, so we'll open up to questions and comments from the general public. Yes, Julie?
Yeah, on behalf of the Concord Advisory Committee, we would like to invite the Board of Selectmen to our meeting Monday night, September 17th, here in the conference room. Our meeting will start at 7 o'clock, but we expect NIPRO, some representatives of theirs, to come at 7:30, and we would like you to attend if you could.
Okay, thank you for the invitation.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, Madam Chairwoman, I had some questions about the recent increase in the sewer and water rates in town. I was wondering whether this present board had anything to do with increasing the rate, or it was the previous board before the 500 were elected. It was quite a shock to me to receive my water bill in the mail yesterday. Due to some rather unfortunate circumstances, my use of water in the last 6 months decreased by almost 35%, and yet my bill was higher than it was the previous 6 months. As a matter of fact, I used the first 6 months 99 units, and this latest bill was 63 units, and yet the total is 70 cents more than the bill I received for the first 6 months of 19.
How much is the total bill, Bob?
$38.33.
$38.33
That's right,
for 6 months.
that's right.
Pretty good water bill, huh?
Well, I can remember when it was $9 a year.
Hey, I remember when a lot of things were for nothing too, but
Well,
you're in a
this-
different ballgame right now.
This bill, this current bill, includes a new statement of rates, semi-annual metered rates, minimum water rate for half year, $21.90 for 3,000 cubic feet of water. The previous bill was the same rate, was $21.50 for 5,000 cubic feet of water. In other words, it's almost double the cost, the minimum cost. And this, I don't know whether this is legal or not. I have been unable to contact someone today to find out. But the current bill, the previous bill doesn't mention the sewer rate, how it's charged or anything. But this one says sewer rate, 75% of water usage. And I don't know whether that's legal or not. I think it has to state so many cents per 100 cubic feet, like the water rate. That's something we never paid until 2 years ago this month. Now, according to the annual town report of the town accountant for fiscal 1989, the town collected $630,713 in water and sewer rate collections. Expenditures for the water department of the town in fiscal 1989 were totaled, including $11,824 for sewer improvement, totaled $350,592. In the current fiscal year's budget for fiscal 1991, we have budgeted $350,380, which is $200 less than 2 years ago. And yet, we're collecting all these money.
Bob, let me get into this with you for a minute.
Okay.
A year ago, the treasurer in his wisdom, 8/15/89, borrowed $3,330,000 for the town of Clinton. Out of that, $1,060,000 was for water improvements that was carried on last year in that area of town, plus up in the acre. So due to the fact of the water and the sewer and some money up at the landfill, which was voted at a special town meeting, the note on that every year is $350,000 on the principal alone, not counting the interest. I don't have the interest here. That total outstanding amount on that three issues is $3,330,000. And I don't certainly think that a $35 or $40 water bill for 6 months is an awful lot of money to pay. Now, I'm not going to quibble with you, it went up 40 cents or 50 cents or 60 cents. I know people, my bill went up quite a bit. I have quite a water bill too. Everybody got quite a water bill. And I know you have a right to come in here, but I think it's kind of, I don't know what the purpose of the whole thing is. I mean, if somebody out there had a legitimate water bill, I'd like to hear from them. That's what the way I look at it, because, and there's probably a lot of people that got a lot of water bills for $200 out there this month too.
So are you
And I think when you got a water bill, yes,
Are you advocating that you leave your tap open and just let it run? If the man is conserving, why should he be punished for it?
oh, I'm not saying, but I think he's got a pretty good water bill.
I think he has a right to object to what he's saying.
I'm not-
He's telling you right now that they're budgeting, they collected half of what they're budgeting this time, that you're doubling up here, and the guy is getting nothing back. Why are you doubling up?
George,
They got another bill?
what I'm getting at, George, is we got $3,330,000 worth. And we got another plan here that calls for over $2 million worth of more water improvement.
Fine.
Now, we're not gonna pay for it on $35 water bills.
Simmer down.
Believe me.
Just simmer down.
No, I want you to get the point.
Just simmer down, because if I'm not yelling, neither will you. I have a water bill that I have to pay. I also had to pay a Rocher almost $200 because of the increase of pressure down there. I had no problem with pressure. But now everything's blown out. I go to the water department, and I found out I have to go to a private plumber to have something put in there to reduce the pressure in my home, because I'm blowing valves left and right all over. The furnace is blowing out, the pipes are breaking and everything else. Now, maybe you don't think that's a lot of money, but if you have to institute other money outside this, I don't see the town coming up with any money here. The town has not supplying any service. No service, because you're budgeting an awful lot. It's like everything else. You're budgeting, but you're not coming through with nothing in it. Nothing. If you're using this extra money to pay off a debt, say so. We have an outstanding bill that has to go for it.
I don't think we are.
Well, where is the money going? Your budget,
Well-
you collected 600, how much was that, 6 million?
$630,000.
630 and expended 300. What happened to the rest of it?
What are you talking about, 300 expended?
Right there. Just read it.
He didn't even allow for the notes.
Most of that.
That's all part of the water.
Most of that's for the landfill, Jimmy.
Huh?
Most of that's for the landfill.
I just told you what it costs. It's $1,060,000. The payment on that last year, just on the interest, was $120,000.
That's just for water.
Yes.
Not for the landfill.
Yes.
It's not, you're not even including the sewer bill. What was the sewer bill? That combination was water.
The sewer on top of that is another $23,000. Yeah. But what I'm getting at is, George,
No, they used to. They don't.
you know, when the MDC puts that water into our mains down there, we have to pump it out of there. We've got $100,000 a year pumping.
Jimmy, 95.
Well, 95, okay, I said 100. It'll be 100 next year.
Yeah, so will the rate be on it.
Yes.
Well, hey, I'm not the light company. What they charge is, you know, people use more water now than ever, you know that, with automatic dishwashers and whatnot. But we have a bill there, George, of almost $95,000, plus these notes here, plus what it costs down there. You take all this stuff in the insurance, the payrolls of these gentlemen that work in the department, plus overtime, plus this water weekend, so forth, you know. Don't take long to add it up. I don't have all the figures put together because, but I'd be sure fast to put them together for you and not lie about it.
Right, just over with your intent to ridicule somebody because they have a low water.
I didn't say, I didn't ridicule
It's the way
it.
you're coming across to me. You
I-
have been lately.
Huh?
You have been lately. Very seriously, you're coming
Well,
with that quick shot.
You know,
And some people may take it, some people won't. I personally would.
I'm not going to take it either from any. I'm getting shot every day on the streets too. There's people sitting right here in this room that's giving me the shots too.
You're in public
And I know
office.
about it. I know about it. I knew that when I took the thing. But I think we have so many problems here, and if we don't start getting away from all this badgering and bitching and everybody coming down here and cutting everybody up, we're going to get nowhere. And it's going to cost you and everybody in this room money, 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 every time. And that's what's going to happen.
Money, money, and we don't see any progress. There's no progress.
Madam Chairperson, may I ask Mr. Winship a question?
Sure.
Mr. Winship, did that $38.33 bill, was that including your storage, usage storage? Is that your total bill?
Yeah,
You still live on Highland Street?
that's correct.
I live on Highland Avenue. I live less than a quarter mile away from you, Bob. You know what I paid last year for storage alone? $210, Bob. I don't have town storage. I have to pay twice a year to have my septic system pumped out.
We never paid for sewer in this town until 2 years ago this month.
Yeah, you see a massive project going down there, so they have to upgrade the system.
Yeah, but
Somebody
it's
has,
not for
these things don't,
It's
you know,
not for Clinton, it's for Lancaster, South Lancaster.
But they had to upgrade
for
this.
Bolton, Berlin, Sterling.
and they also had to upgrade the system. And I'm just trying to say,
Have you seen the River running pure?
no, I haven't.
Yeah, did you expect to see it running pure?
Hopefully in some years to come, yes.
Until we separate the sewer and storm drains, it's not gonna happen. I mean, we're gonna put in water lines, I mean, but what are we doing with the sewer?
Another question I have, how much of an increase did it go up? In other words, what was your total bill last year?
What was their total bill last year? I got it down here.
For your 6 months? 'Cause one of your questions was, did this board institute it? And yes, we did. This board here, sitting here, did institute that rate increase.
Yeah, you went up 40 cents on a minute.
Yeah, but we also put the minimum from 3,000 to 5,000. In other words, before, I'm sorry,
No, you reversed it.
We reversed it, right. They used to
You're paying more for
exactly.
3,000 now than you did before.
Yeah, because we increased the rates, but at the same time, we weren't gonna charge somebody we lowered the maximum they were gonna charge them for. We were trying to keep the bill similar to what it was last year for, what, 60% of the ratepayers? And only 40% of the people, in essence, were gonna go up any drastic amount. When we say a drastic amount, we're saying over $10 or $20 more than what they paid last year.
Yeah, well, like what George was saying before, I could leave my caps open at home, my outside caps, and let them run all month, and it wouldn't cost me a penny more. Now, do you want me to do that?
No, I certainly don't want you to do it, Bob, but if you wanna do it, it's on
Then I'm
yourself,
paying for what I'm using.
you know? But I'm just saying
I'm not
that,
paying what I'm using now, and I imagine there's a lot of other people on fixed income too, that are doing the same thing. They're paying for what they're not using.
like I say, you're fortunate that you got a bill that cheap. I wish I had my bill that cheap. I wish I had town storage.
Conservation.
It's not cheap for you.
No, I'm just saying, I don't have storage, George. I have a septic system, and I have to have it pumped out twice a year, because it's
And
an old
there's small
system.
children, you naturally don't use them.
It's expensive for you.
Well, if it's a 38 twice a year, you know, that's $76. I certainly don't think it's gonna break this man. If he's on a fixed income, hey, he's got a legitimate people. I certainly don't think $76 is gonna put the man out of business. That's my own personal belief.
They are very high. Mine's $175 a year.
You have a pool?
Yeah, but he didn't touch it this year.
Do you have a pool?
I don't.
You never used it?
Yes, the rain took care of it this year. It's the first year that I've never had to add water to my pool.
Well, it's going somewhere.
I think also, too, I think what people have to realize, and I think Jimmy brought up the fact that we've done a lot of improvements within the town. We've done major work. All of Candice Street was a huge sewer project on Candice Street. We put new water mains in on Berlin Road, High Street, Greeley Hill. A tremendous amount of work, and a tremendous amount of work still has to be done. We have a totally antiquated system throughout the town.
I thoroughly agree. But now I have a great wash of water coming down on Flag Street, because when they ran over the grass. I've had to put organic grass myself, it's still not going there. By compressing everything when it comes through with the shovel and all that, ripped off part of the tree. Another part of it, so when they flush the hydrants or when it rains, I get washed out right down in the backyard. I also have the problem where I had to call Rochers down and spend X amount of dollars, it's over $200 as far as I know, to put in check valves and everything else to reduce the pressure, which I never had any problem with the pressure. So they didn't do me any favor. The paving, I had to go up to the, Mr. Gilmore a couple of times, and they had to put a swell in down there. I had explained to the construction company what I needed. They did, pardon the English, but a half-hour job of even paving a road down there. It stinks. I see the rest of the town, they covered everything else, Flag Street, they cut a little jagged in, they threw something in, and just let it wash over. That's it. They didn't do me anything, and my bill is going up. And one thing that I will always hear from the board, they're constant, and that's about everybody there, where were you when these meetings were going on? Well, the man is up here complaining while our meeting is going on, because next year the bill is going to be higher, and somebody will say, well, where were you at night when we were talking about this? He's here. I agree with him 100%. He's not using it, he shouldn't be paying it.
One.
Was there any problem with paying the minimum on the 5,000? I mean, did you complain before about that? And the minimum was 5,000, you weren't using that much, but you were still paying for 5,000?
I've been complaining about the sewer use charge in this town since day one. Mary Rosa. You know,
That's legitimate.
beating a dead horse though, because that's something we never had. You know, we had an agreement with the Metropolitan District Commission back in 1898 that they would supply us with free water and they would supply us with a sewer treatment plant in perpetuity, no cost to the inhabitants of the town. And that all changed because the MWRA, which took over from the MDC, wanted to get 90% federal grant, which is our money, by the way, to build a new treatment plant down there to treat the sewage from the South Lancaster Sewer District, plus the septic from Bolton, Berlin, Sterling. And I don't see the town of Clinton getting anything great out of that deal, because now it's costing us.
We're still paying for the upgrade of the system, though. There is cost there. I mean, I sympathize with
But
you.
Bob, you're right. when the governor came to town, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, and they changed that over from the MWRA, from the MDC to the MWRA, Mr. Gilmore, myself, and Mr. Constantino stood right there, and Mr. Constantino asked him straight out, would this affect Clinton in any way? And he said, no, we will honor this program. And he honored it, all right. How you paying? But that's the truth. He stood right there and said it.
Would you recommend, John, we take it over ourselves?
Take
Run
what
it?
over, Jim?
The whole treatment plant?
Yeah, if we take over the electricity
We couldn't
reservoir, sure.
That's what I mean, the whole system.
We take over the
No,
electricity
no,
reservoir.
but if it's fair to change things afterwards, where's our land that they took for the reservoir? We were the size of Milford at one time. Now, if they're gonna break their part of the agreement, where does that leave us? We're underwater. But it's true, he did say that, because Billy asked him straight out. And Billy Gilmore's right there, was right there with me.
Do we have any legal recourse?
Don't know, I'm a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a contractor, not a lawyer.
You know, the whole problem with the thing is, there's 35 members in this district. John,
Yeah?
the waterworks, how many towns and cities in this district? 35, 37, somewhere around that area?
More, Jimmy.
More. All right. Their complaint with the whole thing, and I wasn't here at the time, but the whole thing with it is that Clinton is getting all this free water. And I think the more we talk about it, the more we're going to put our foot in it.
Yeah, that's very true.
You're damn right. And I'm telling you, we'd be lucky, and I hope it never happens, the day we ever get in under that system. And you'll think a 37 water bill, that'll be a weekly water bill, never mind a 6-month water bill. Because these people in the district down below us are very mad at Clinton for getting 800, 900 million gallons of water for nothing. They can't see it. They don't even want to look back to 1895 or 1900 when this whole plant was put in here. They'd love to dissolve us in 1 minute. They'd love to wipe us off the map and put us in the district, and then we pay the rates directly to them
That'd
people
be
down
more
there.
than you're paying for your taxes.
And their water bills down there are running anywhere from $100 to $300 a month. Remember that. Remember what I'm telling you tonight now. Go from there.
How much are those towns or cities getting if our tax dollars on the land is not underneath the water?
I don't know what they're getting.
All right.
I don't know
Nobody
what,
seems to know about it.
I don't know what, there's no dams in those towns that I know of, except this one. There is some down through Sudbury in that area down there, but the others, I'd say there's no reservoirs down there.
So they didn't lose any land then?
Huh?
They never
No, they
lost any
didn't.
land?
No, they didn't.
No, they
So why
didn't.
should they complain?
Well, they're sore because we're getting all the, then it comes down to where do you go from there? Do you
Why should they be
get,
sore, Jimmy?
get
They
out of-
never lost any
you
land?
get out of the district altogether or try to get out from under the whole thing, assume the responsibility of the thing on High Street, and then go to a tax bill on the property up there, plus personal property of the machines and so forth, and the conduct of the business up there where they sell electricity and so forth. And they're very, very complicated, long thing. There's pages on this stuff. I don't know.
But when Bob is saying that it almost doubled this year, what's it going to be next year?
Well, I
This board has
don't,
no intention of raising the rates, we just did it. Certainly ain't gonna raise them again.
I didn't think
So
we're,
you're going to do that next
least
year
I ain't.
too?
Well, I'm not gonna raise the rates again. I've taken enough flack for just raising them
Yeah.
once, never mind, twice.
Doesn't
No.
the selectmen do it?
Yeah, I told you, I did say this board did raise them.
I agree with John. I think the next move, if I'm here or who's here, that I will very seriously and take an awful hard look at this idea of raising money, and we may need it very badly too, but if it comes to the point of, and it's going to come to the point that services are going to have to go, those services are going to have to go. And then it's going to be another whole new ballgame again.
What are the major improvements of the plan? Are there any this year and
Where?
fiscal year in the town?
For us, no. We have these water projects that I think should be completed, but you're talking $2 million.
The rate 5 years ago was, a minimum rate was $7.50 for it. The water bill, 21
Bob, you remember when the bill was $2.50?
$2.25.
$2.25, you paid it in 15 days and you get 10% off. Nobody, it's true, and nobody in the world would ever believe that you had a water bill. That's where the town fell asleep. That's where the town fell asleep. I'm not going to put it on anybody's shoulders, but that's where we fell asleep. That's where the money should have been going into a revolving fund for water and sewers and everything else, and we wouldn't be getting murdered with this. We had a program going in this town. I got in under it on Richmond Street, Beach Street, 3 or 4 other new streets down there where they used to replace so much pipe every year. I had a 2-inch line running from Summit Street to Beacon Street, so they upped it to 6. And they did Beach Street, and they did a number of streets in the town. And it was doing very well. And all of a sudden, after they did 3 or 4 summers of that, and they were doing all these streets, they dissolved it out of the budget. Now you're going to pay millions of dollars for stuff that you could have had done a long time ago. But that's been our history. That's the history. This is the way we operate. We're penny wise and dollar foolish. Believe me, on a lot of things. I think we'd be still in the high school over there if it didn't burn down. I mean, we fight over everything. We can't seem to get anything off the ground. And I mean it. I've seen it all. There's a lot of things we got to do. Hey, this building needs a ton of work. They put off stuff in the schools down there, the building, the roofs are leaking down there because they didn't have any money in the budget this year to cut it out. You've got to do this stuff, or you're going to have nothing. We had 2 major breaks over there this winter on Grove Street. The board member, John knows about it, he was on the board, and Mary Rose. They were over there for what, 2 nights? In the day and night, brought people in, 6-8-inch water mains let go, frost, cold, cracked, created damage, paid off litigation. It's going to happen again. You had a break over in the harbor last winter, a bad one again.
And it still isn't fixed.
I mean, this is going to keep going until something is done.
In
I'm
answer
not
to you, I
trying to
think
throw gloom on anybody. I'm just trying to look at the thing and be honest and fair. And I get accused because I say this and I say that. I have my feelings. I may be dead to wrong, but I think sometimes I might be right too. But we've got to look at these things. We can't just let them go.
Has the board ever considered user fees? For example, somebody mentioned that there was a project done up on Candice Street. Obviously, that affects one certain portion of the town, yet the whole town gets advertised to cost the whole town. Has there been any consideration to perhaps have user fees for the sections of the town that the improvements are taking place in?
Well, first of all, Tony, on that, if you start talking about both our sewer and our water systems, the water system, I'll just talk the water system alone. We have a totally antiquated system. Most of those pipes have been in the ground for anywhere from 100 to 90 years. And basically what you're talking is the work that has been done up to this point is the major, which the engineers quote unquote considered to be the major problems. And I'm talking the main streets and then some shoot-offs. You basically have over 90% of the town that has to have repairs done, some more severely than others. And basically with the engineers, they drew up what they called a 5-year master plan. And basically that's what the engineers have recommended to the town, that over a 5-year period of time, that the town do these projects. Now, 3 years ago, the town voted at town meeting to approve $3 million in water work and $700,000 in sewer work. And basically, the sewer project on Candice Street, Richie, was a 75%, it was the reimbursement, was a grant that the town applied for and received.
From the state.
From the state. And some of the water improvements that we have done have been done with the help from the state.
We'll get over 500,000, yeah.
Okay. The town basically still has now, Richie, approximately 1.9 million? Approximately $1.9 million from the original $3 million that was approved at town meeting for future water improvements. And that's basically what Jimmy is saying. The town would have to do, in other words, the authority has been put there, and there is $1.9 million to do future waterworks. But every time that you do a project, you have to draw off of that bond, so therefore, now you have a note that you have to meet.
Exactly.
And obviously, someone has to pay for it, and this is when you're talking, where does your water rates go? I mean, where does that money go? This is one of the areas that you have to pay. Obviously, you have to meet those commitments, and along the way, we have been very fortunate that we have been able to secure some grants on it. And in answer to, I think, was your question is what were some of the future plans for the town, is that this board hopes to continue the much-needed work that needs to be done in this antiquated system. And hopefully, with the improvements, things can be met, priorities can be put in place. So I don't know if that's an answer to you.
What conditions, under what conditions are the engineers making their assumptions? Engineers can make assumptions based on cost, expediency, or a number of different issues.
What happened is we had a sewer and water studies done by LFE, is it not a?
Yeah.
An engineering firm that went and they did, John, some of the testings, the camera work.
They did a
Yeah,
camera
this was
inspection.
camera.
They took the total water system throughout town and made evaluations of where they saw the biggest problems. And from that, we set out to accomplish, you know.
See, what you're doing also, you're
starting
going
and-
from 2 inches to 6 on a lot of the
Yeah.
streets, too.
I mean, it's not like when Jim was relating to Harbor Road, we had a gentleman that came in and a pipe broke, and it was a 2-inch pipe, and it was absolutely amazing, the corrosion.
Sure, it's probably
And,
all the way down.
you know, I mean, if you go
Down
around
around
town, you know, you're talking a 12-inch off to an 8-inch, off to 2-inch pipes, and, so the overall town was done.
Well,
And-
I guess what I'm driving at is I know that the infrastructure is crumbling. Somebody's got to pay for it, and nothing is free. But on the other hand, you know, if Bob conserves, and Highland Street hasn't been touched this year, and he's not involved in any of the improvements, yet a certain region of the town is, for example, if the work was done on Bird Hill or on the acre, would it not be perhaps best then to apply a user fee to those people in the area in which the work is being done? It may be a way of more equitably solving the problem of having Bob come in with a $38 water bill where he would be used to a $22 water bill. or
I
something
don't
of
know
that
if that'd
nature.
be legal.
Are you trying to tell me the same thing? If I had 4 kids going to school, I pay a user fee, and you didn't have any kids going, you pay nothing, right?
Well,
After you used the school for 12 years before I did.
I believe it's a little different for the water.
Why?
I believe that we're all hooked up with the water, and the water is a necessary part of the infrastructure. I mean, I don't think there's a house in town that doesn't have a water hookup. And if
There's
you're,
some.
for example, if you wanted to change the plumbing in your house, you'd hire a plumber.
Right.
And you pay the plumber to do that work. Well, obviously, the same scenario holds if there's something wrong in the road, and you want water delivered to your house, you're gonna have to damn well pay for it. And if you don't wanna pay for it, then, you know, the work can't get done. That's the problem. Either you pay the bill as it is, or you pay a user charge. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
You know, I want to go back a little bit, and we built a lot of houses in this town. We were putting water pipes in these houses from the street in for $3 a foot. There wasn't a town or city in the Commonwealth, and there wasn't a town or city in probably the whole United States was paying that kind of a rate. That's for nothing.
Sure.
We couldn't even pay the help on that, $3 a foot.
Well, that's shame on us.
But that was fine, you know? I mean, that was fine. Now it comes time to make up time, you know what I mean? And this is where our problem is, and this stuff has been put off, and we're faced with it, and that's the way I look at it.
Well, this is, what you just said about the kids going to school, that's the same problem in reverse. Now we're paying now for the sins of the past.
Right.
How can we be expected to constantly pay for the sins of the past?
But somebody's gonna pay for our sins, too.
That's true as well.
Well, you are.
But there may be a more equitable way of doing it, is what I'm saying.
I think, again, you know, we all live in a town, we all call this our place that we live. And I just could imagine the chaos that would create if, firstly speaking, I don't I don't believe in that concept, because I could just imagine the chaos that would happen if you live on Berlin Road and someone's doing work on High Street, and, you know, we're all paying taxes, but yet you're gonna be assessed because they happen to be doing something in that part of your town because you have a problem. And I have it over on this side, but they didn't get to mine yet. I mean, Tony, just the chaos. I mean, I can see the concept, but, you know, I can't imagine that system working. I just can't.
Lancaster is
Certainly, it's something that you could look into, but I just.
The
I couldn't
idea
No, I'm
is-
imagine
certainly not
that.
advocating, I'm just saying that that's probably the only other solution you have. Either you spread out the debt to everyone, or you go to a user fee system. If the user fee system means you're paying $5,000 in one lump sum to have a water connection to your house, or have a good water connection to your house, is that any better than paying, you know, $25 a year or whatever it is? I don't know what the solution is, I'm just asking, is there a more equitable way of doing it? If there isn't, then there isn't, we have to pay what we owe, period. But obviously, you know, if there is another way of doing it, then maybe we should explore it.
The town of Clinton right now has 7 notes outstanding for middle school, elementary, town barn, wiring in the town hall, Gorham Avenue sewer loan, school elevator, and landfill. I'm not counting anything that's to come up on the future, on the dump that's still hanging out there on top of us too. So you've got 2, 4, as I said, 7. By the year 1995, there'll be 3 of those paid off, and there's 2 of them going out of business this year, so that's 5. So actually, in a couple of years, you only have 2 notes out. And I think our debt is very good. Our debt is very, very good. I don't think we're over our head by any means on our debt problem yet. And
Well, what does that mean in the future, when these debts mature and finally go away? Does that mean some of the rates go down?
no, the rates don't go down. The less you have out, you can borrow money better. But what I'm trying to say is, we're not overextending ourselves on our debt. You know what I mean? We're not like a lot of towns that have heavy, heavy debt.
Sure.
We don't have this, and that listing is in the town report. You can read it on page 73, and it shows you what we owe and what we pay every year on these certain notes.
I mean, basically, Tony, we could not do another thing to the town water system, but that would be ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Because we know the problems that there are. So to improve on that system, obviously, you have to use that $1.9 million, draw from it, and be selective and use the recommendations of the engineers to continue in the areas that have the problems. Obviously, you can't address them all at one time, because we just obviously don't have the money.
Sure.
But we hope to be successful as we have with grants up to this point, and, you know, draw on bonds and put the money up that we have to, and then the money we receive from the town, from the state, work these projects in.
Well, I understand that, but I also temper with the sympathy that I have for a person like Bob, who has seen a net increase in his water rate, yet he is conservative. So there's, you know, there's some kind of a problem there where a person who has decreased his net usage of water is now paying more. I could understand if, you know, he had quadrupled or centupled his water usage. Then I could have a legitimate beef with it, you know, what he was saying. But he's seen a net decrease, and you know, it just doesn't seem to be fair in that case. Understanding that he has to have pipes to deliver his water, and you know, that there's a fixed system there to deliver his water to him. That case just doesn't seem fair to me.
Sympathize with the situation too, but all of our water bills went up.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
My name's Kathy Jander. I live up on 56 Willow Street. It's a great family.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your address.
56 Willow Street. It's a great family.
Mhm.
My last bill I paid the previous 6 months, the water department took my bill, so I don't have to. It was 38 and some change. The bill I just received yesterday is $402.
Yeah. Well, you bring that bill up to the Department of Public Works
Something wrong.
tomorrow.
I brought it up. It's up there, and they just told me, the girl that was in the office, is that somebody will come by and check it. I asked
Yeah.
when. She said today or tomorrow.
they're going up.
Yeah,
If the price, if the cost went up that much, I think there's a problem or a mistake.
there's a problem.
The water department, sending them back up. To reread the meters,
Got it.
if the reading is the same, they're actually taking
Computer.
off the tops of the meters and listening to see if there's a leak. Situation like that, you may have a leak.
When do they actually read the meters for this bill? When was it?
May or June.
I was told it was the end of July, so,
Yeah.
you know, and already since, if it was the end of July, and then we're into September, we've already used like over 10,000 cubic feet. So something's wrong, but
They'll
I'm
check
not,
on that. They'll either correct the meter if there's a problem with the meter itself.
You left the bill up there?
But it was May or June, they actually did it.
They'll straighten that out.
They have a list of people, and they have green cards that fill
Yep.
out, and they're going out to Morris.
There's obviously a problem.
Hopefully.
All
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions and comments?
A couple of years ago, in fact, it's been brought up over, I think, 6 years ago, and then last, I think it was a couple of years ago, talk about using the electric power from the dam as a source of revenue for the town of Clinton. And I think there was a letter written or something that was pursued, and then it seemed to drop. Of course, the energy crunch went away and everything else, and there didn't seem to be any more follow-up on it. But I was wondering if the board would see if there's wisdom to maybe look into this, if there's a way of pursuing this matter, to see if maybe we can start selling some of that power to the electric companies and then get that revenue.
The power that comes out of the Wachusett Reservoir is sold to the New England Power System by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We have no say in it.
Nothing.
It's there.
Yeah, that's fine. Leave it to
That's been sold already. The revenue derived from that goes back to the state.
What about the methane?
Hmm?
Has anybody looked into the methane gas from the dump? Selling that to the nonprofits?
Someone has called, I talked to a gentleman on it, he was supposed to get back to me, he never got back to me, but there was some interest. I talked to him, but I never got it. But that's very the possibility. If there are, who said I'm interested in this?
I know.
Excuse me?
Mr. Crotch is here, but have a 7:15 appointment.
John, would you like to come forward?
No, this is Mr. Crotch, isn't it?
No?
It's Mr. Newton. Did you want to comment on this?
Yes, he isn't here then. Wrong man.
Well, you tried, Mary.
Mary, I'm taking your word for it. I don't have my glasses on.
I didn't look at it, is that the man that came in yesterday?
Any other questions or comments from the general public?
Just had a Board of Health meeting, and first thing we'd like to do, remind you, we've got about 3 more weeks, we're gonna start having leaves. I wanna know when you wanna get together and see about a compost pile.
It's a good idea, Joe.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that have been making phone calls asking about it.
How many times did they pick them up last year, Joe? Once?
We did it one time, yes.
When can you get together next week, John? You tell us.
You tell us.
You people meet
Our next
Wednesday?
meeting is until the 26th,
How about next Wednesday, early,
okay?
6?
Whoever wants to come, all right, me.
6 good?
Okay. Okay, number 2. I'd like to know where the Board of Selectmen stand with Mr. Fontuna's expense account. He hasn't been paid since the 1st of July.
We'll hold on that, I'm still working on that. That'll be coming up. That should be
Well,
within-
the problem being, that this is the week that we pay the vouchers.
Yeah. How many is it behind now, 2?
Well, no, since the 1st of July.
July and August, yeah, 2 months I meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know where I stand on that one. I think we gotta sit down with that one.
Well, I've talked to every member of the Finance Committee, and they have no problem with it. I just want to know how the Board of Selectmen.
Glad they haven't, they started the problem.
Well, I'll tell you what they told me is, the way that they
No.
feel that they initiated it, but it was defeated on the floor. We got the money back on the floor, and
I understand that
the
part.
floor is the gospel, so I'd like to see if we could
That's
consider
fine.
it this week when they're doing the vouchers.
I'd like to get it over with too and get it straightened out. Where
All
we're
right.
coming from on that.
I don't know how you can
That,
expect
that
them to
was
run
the
around for
thing that
nothing.
should have been taken care of, you know, right then and there, set up some kind of.
Correct, right.
Any
That's,
other?
those are the two I got.
Tell Fonzie hold
Right.
for it, will you? See where we can work out something.
You want to come down and see you?
No, I talked to him before a lot. I had a couple of calls.
All right,
Wednesday at 6, Joe.
great.
Thank you.
Before Joe leaves, I had a person, I don't know if it's just Joe or just you or those, and is under extreme hardship due to health conditions. She's on
Oh, I
a
think you should address that.
kidney dialysis machine, and this is on the trash pickup where she has to have bags every week, lots of them, and she has all these cardboard boxes, and she just had a weight off, because she's being on the kidney dialysis. And this is creating quite a problem as far as just the extra $3 or $4 that she has to pay a week to have the trash picked up, is creating extreme hardship. And I didn't know if there's some type of special circumstance or something that somehow could take care of the
Absolutely,
situation, or
should be able to help there
It
somehow.
should be addressed to the selectmen, because the Board of Health and the Institute decided by cents.
What time, 6?
Well, could you leave her name and address with me, or give it to Richard, and we'll address the problem? Thank you.
The Board of Health is here, Mr. Chairman. How are you making out down there on 112 East Street? Health mess you got down there.
Right on that, two of the tenants were up this evening. We had worked out something with them. The trash that's down there has been picked up. Okay?
It was picked up when, Joe? Yesterday.
Yesterday, I believe it was when-
Okay, I was down there yesterday morning, and it was
Okay, it was picked up yesterday
a
afternoon.
mess, and it's been like that for over a week or better.
Okay, yeah, the health agent was down there. We got, the call came in on Thursday. Mr. Fontana went down on Friday morning, and he had no luck there. He went over to the realtor over in Bolton and explained to him that if it wasn't taken care of, that it would be taken care of, and an attachment on the property would happen, and they didn't want to have that problem. They said they would address it, but give them a couple of days. And in the meantime, one of the other neighbors got involved, and then I understand you were involved and everything, but it's been
Yeah, I
taken
talked
care
to
of.
somebody from Dallamore Realty yesterday morning.
Right,
All right, I'm glad to hear it's done, okay.
it's all taken care of.
The owner,
Very good, Joe.
What? What happened? He just abandoned it? or what?
I believe it's in the process of being grabbed by the bank.
Oh, all right. That's what I thought.
Very good, Joe.
Okay.
There, Joe.
I would suggest that your board appoint a Memorial Day Parade Committee in the very near future. It seems every year we're slow on appointing a committee, and then we suffer this in the sense that we can't get bands or already committed to other outfits. So if your board would be kind enough to appoint a committee early enough, to give us a little leeway on working. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Richard? The board will now have its weekly correspondence with Administrative Assistant Richard Montoya.
I read this one now, Rich, you're at it.
Yeah, sure, that was addressed to you, so.
I have a letter addressed to James Coyne, Mr. Coyne. We've lived at this address for the past 25 years, and we have never seen a light pole put at the end of our street. We were led to believe it was going to be done, but as of this date, there still isn't one. We're only concerned that our street is a dead end, and it's very dark without the lights. In the past 2 years, with construction of condominiums, the true traffic has increased. Also, they're so dark, the end of the street has become a bathroom disposal stop for many young people. grandchildren live with us, and the last thing we want is for them to be woken up by these young people. Believe that a light at the end of Lincoln Street would deter these people from taking advantage of the darkness. We both appreciate looking into the matter and allowing us to rest easy. Thank you very much, Francis Heitman. Read this one too?
Yeah, before I give you the Boston Gas, there are 3 locations, 6 locations rather, for Boston Gas, and 7 locations. Before you vote on the locations, I want to know if the board had reviewed, or had any questions on the possible road opening permit that the superintendent sent down. We put together a road opening permit that is similar to what other towns issue for any road opening in the town. And I met with the superintendent today, and everything seems to be in order. If the board accepts it, they have to set a fee of anywhere from $75 to $100. It seems like $100 is what most towns are charging. And I don't know if the board had any, if they want to even wait any longer and think about it more, or especially before the do anything tonight on any more road openings. I have a copy of Mr. Gilmore sent down.
What are those road openings requests for? When will the work be done?
We send them a letter. We send them a letter.
All I'm saying is, would we need to give them any type of notification?
Well, this is dated the 20th. This is today.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they're gonna do those tomorrow or the next day, and then we
You don't necessarily have to
charge you the money.
These don't necessarily have to be the ones you start with, but before any more come in.
I think we should notify them that we've instituted this fee so that they can anticipate, you know.
In other words, give them a warning.
Right. Sounds good to me.
Right. We'll send them a letter telling them such and such a date, we'll start charging for road opening permits.
If we do, whatever, pleasure of the board, but if we do accept it, we should have a start date. Give a week or two to notify all companies that do the business.
You start like October 1.
That's fair.
That one over.
Starting date October 1, start fresh at the beginning of the month.
You want to make that the fall?
I don't know how people, if they've looked over this permit language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a copy of it back in Montana, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Right.
On that road opening. It's fine with me.
I think it's good, it covers liability insurance, has all the times and dates, gives the town the right to revoke at any time, and it covers pretty much everything.
So, any preference on the fee?
My own thought is, I don't want to kill them, I'd rather go with the lower amount, $75, because eventually the consumer ends up paying the cost one way or
That's
the other.
exactly right.
But we should
Consumer
charge
ends up
some.
paying.
You want to adopt that policy effective a certain date?
Start October 1.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the policy that the Department of Public Works Superintendent has presented to our board, and that we charge a cost of $75 for a road opening permit.
Start date.
Of October 1, 1990.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Each opening is there for every opening that may
What's the difference?
Yep.
There's 6 openings there, $75 for every opening.
Right, exactly.
Times 6, 75 times 6.
Even though a couple of them are on the same street.
Other cities are charging $100.
Tony's got water on the street, and he told so. I guess it's the same street.
As far as a packet of information for this one.
What do we have to,
All right,
we have, yeah, so.
Who seconded Jane's motion?
Mike did.
Mike, and The vote was on.
You want that, Jimmy? See, Jimmy didn't vote, I don't think so. He heard.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. I'm sorry, Jimmy. We have 7 requests from Boston Gas for openings. And I'll read them all down. 161 Greeley, 185 Chestnut, 79 Front, 25 Front, 234 Greeley, 51 Harmon, 165 Green.
How many are there? 5?
7.
7.
2 for Greeley and 2 for Front Street.
Really is quite a distance apart. You know, that's why, in Front Street, it's quite a distance apart.
This is probably to that choice.
Right.
Well, he said the other said you charge $100 a quarter.
Where?
The gas fixed.
Richard, where are they charging $100 for these?
I think the model we use is like Fitchburg.
Huh?
Fitchburg.
They're charging $100 an opening?
Yeah, other cities and towns, I can get you all the cities, the list of cities and towns that do, I have part upstairs.
They're all 100?
I can get you a list, I'm sure not everybody's 100, but I would think that,
75 would be on the low side, right?
I think so, yeah.
How deep are those holes, John? About 3 feet?
About 3.5 feet at the most. And they put them back and maintain them too, so.
Discretion as far as if you have 4 so on.
Billy did his research on it, and to come up with the language and cost.
And it was his recommendation as it was per opening, right? Okay, so we're following the wishes.
The police detail is separate.
Oh, yeah. Separate.
I certainly think if the superintendent looked into it, and that's the recommendation that he's given, and he's done research on what other cities and towns are doing.
So every time they open the road.
Where will this go into?
October 1st.
No, I mean, what are you gonna put it in the fund?
I have to open up, I would think a new account, a revenue account card,
For what?
for road opening permits. I mean, like
What are you gonna
like
do
any
with it?
other permit.
What are you gonna use it for?
Just goes back in, it's just like any general revenue that comes into the town for any type of permits. Like it's,
Why couldn't it be in a road resurfacing, to resurface the
that's
whole road?
that would be like a revolving account, and just a separate revenue account. And you couldn't set up a revolving account, for money to come in and then go back up for resurfacing. The Board of Field Mill Council, I get a list of, what towns similar to Clinton are charging, and based on that, a little more information. It's not to start till October 1.
Any idea how many openings they made last year?
This is, that's what they, every week they send a letter in, right, with a minimum of 3 places a week.
You know what it is? Clinton's behind the times because we get people coming to the fire station. They didn't believe we weren't charging for permits where every other town and city around charges for them. We're supposed to be looking for ways of increasing revenues other than hitting the taxpayer. And then once we try to do it, we start, trying to beat it down that way. I mean, if $75 doesn't sound like a lot of money. I know eventually it's going to get passed off to the consumer, which I am one of Boston Gas's consumers. But at the same time, we're behind the times when it comes to picking up revenues that are there. It should be there.
And it's not just Boston Gas, it's anybody that opens up the
Right,
road.
exactly.
And maybe people think twice digging up the roads in town, especially areas that were just paved over and so on.
Well, that should be happening, that should have been a lot of years ago.
John, how many
Let them
times
dig
over
up
the years
pavement.
have we complained about the roads after Boston Gas opens them up and the
It
jobs
should
they
be
do
all done
patching out?
beforehand. When it's paved, it stays paved for 5 years.
They want to disconnect the service, and then if the people want to put the service back in, they charge them thousands of dollars. So I don't feel bad by charging them $75. I'm not going to rescind my vote, no way.
Why, there's no rescinding the
No,
vote.
Richie just asked me if I wanted
Yeah,
to
no, I didn't-
rethink it. I'm not going to rethink it.
Well, where are we?
We still have to vote on
Those.
those openings. There hasn't been a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion we grant their openings.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
As far as the packet of information, the only item that needs board approval is the fire department report for the month of August. The board's reviewed it. So, any questions? Just all set on the fire department August report. Other than that, the rest of the packet, just general information, if the board had any questions regarding it.
The board will have to make a motion to this.
I'll make a motion to accept this written. Oh, you want to read?
Go ahead.
I read it.
I'll second it, Jim.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the fire chief's report for the month of August. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
That's all I had. Just let the board know we've contacted other towns, and any day now we should be getting the various applications, and we'll have an form application for all the licenses the town gives out next week. And also, I know the board is being pressed on the mileage, and you'll have a draft mileage policy.
Other towns, cities do have some type of application process.
Call it good variety.
I thought they might have.
We're diverse, we call 3 towns, we're diverse in the type of towns we call. So we're getting copies of them, we'll come up with something.
Okay, good.
But we have a letter from Clinton Papawana, dear friends of Papawana. September is here, the children are back to school in the fall season. The fall season sports teams have started practice, including our own Papawana team. We know that you have been more than generous in the past, but due to the escalating cost of equipment, officials, league fees, and other hidden expenses, we are going to prevail once again on your good nature. Any amount that you could donate to our town's youth will be well spent. When you figure we have approximately 40 boys, 20 girls involved each year, and multiply that by the number of years our team has been in existence, we have done together an excellent job in steering the minds and bodies of our Clinton's young people. Donations may be sent directly to our treasurer, Lois Mohan, 428 High Street, Clinton, or to me at 105 Chase Street. Thank you again for your continued support. President of Clinton Papawana Gales, Cindy O'Connell. Richie, could you look and see what we... Yeah. It's a wonderful organization, and they've done some great things with Clinton.
They certainly have.
They certainly should be commended for it.
We are also requesting to have tag days on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, September 20, 21, and 22.
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
For Papawana?
Yep.
Second.
All in favor?
Any discussion, is there money available on that account?
The civic fund is available as of July 1, and there's $1,000.
This motion is for the tag day, though, right? Yeah, just to allow them to hold.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were,
Tag day.
I was talking to Jimmy, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies.
For the tag day, there's been a motion for a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any question?
I thought you made a motion.
No, it was to give the tag day for Thursday, Friday, so. What were the dates, ma'am? 20 and
21st and 22nd, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, certain hours that they will upstairs.
Beginning balance for July 1 in the civic fund is $2,000.
What did we give last year, Rich?
I'll have to check on that.
We had a request there a month or so ago on that, and we didn't act on it. I don't think, and that was for that baseball team, was it? Legion team?
I have a folder with a few
We have a folder,
requests left from before the fiscal year began. We'll be taking action on that.
And what do we do with that Kevin Sargent thing? We do anything on that?
Gave them money.
Huh?
Gave them money for, I think they were
$100.
late.
Did we own them for last
We
year?
owed them one, and we gave them that. And
Yeah.
this year we told them.
Because we had also had a request from Clinton last year. Also, I
You have
believe.
several
We have
requests
a couple.
upstairs.
Yeah, there's several.
I have a
Which ran out of money.
Yeah.
And Legion requested 1,000.
Yes.
That's half the appropriation.
What are you gonna do with this one? Act on it?
Now we're gonna find out what you gave last year.
do them all at once, like you said.
Yeah.
If you have a folder on them, let's try to find out before we go
Right,
in.
how many,
Give it
how
up,
many
not try to
copies? Good idea.
be selective with one group or another, you know, they all do it.
Yeah.
You only got so much.
Good idea.
I'd like to
We
see
got less
the
than last
original
year, too.
portion.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because there's only two applications.
Appropriation doesn't have to.
We cut it in half, you know.
There's a supplement to all the information I gave you Monday. There's a letter in there from, there are a couple letters there from the police chief, and that don't necessarily have to be acted on tonight, but for your review for next week. But one of them is in particular for the
Dumpster?
for a dumpster. Right now, they use barrels at the police station. He's looking for a small dumpster that can be locked and left outside for the guys to pick up.
I would think that the other matter is more important than the dumpster, to tell you the truth, Reggie, but
The
it's, you know,
Sterling, they went to Sterling,
they've been living, how long they've been out going?
so,
In other words, no, how long the police department been housing there? At least 10 years or better.
right,
You know, it's certainly not an emergency situation about their trash.
right.
Yeah, but now you have the computers on the printout camera. It is a live, so with the police station, we do have a full trash bag each night. We have a dumpster on site.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm against the dumpster, just that it's
What's happening, I think, is since we're going out of town with trash,
certainly not a emergency thing that we have to act on.
Goes off,
We
so
got
it
two letters
stays.
here, one, to me, takes a lot more priority than the other.
right. That
The
was
other
the
one's in the
one,
lockup.
that was the one in the lockup, I'm still waiting for Sterling for a date, and I haven't heard from them. As I told
There was
the board-
nobody up there in Sterling last night. I was up there and,
Told the board what
There was one
Monday,
there,
that
but he kept
sending a
away from
letter
us.
ready this week.
Well, I just want to ask a question, and you may have known, on this lockup question, by honoring the contract with Sterling, it's costing town of Clinton money, right? Because of a state,
Because of the
new
suicide
state
prevention law,
regulations,
right.
the watching the prisoners, and
Right.
now it's costing Clinton money, but we just still have to honor this contract, which we're not getting paid for the extra that it's costing the town. Has there been any check into division local mandates for the auditor's office as to the state-imposed mandate that we can't get back from Sterling because of the contract, but yet we have to pay this new cost now? And I was just wondering if they had any ruling on that type.
There should be a ruling.
As if the state would have to take up that cost of what that mandate is costing the town of Clinton now.
I can check on that.
Okay, thanks.
Richie, is anybody paying these people at all?
Mark, the chief is right now on his budget.
Huh? Is he paying them?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, out of his account.
Out of his own money?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Sterling, again, wait, I was giving them to the end of the week, and I was gonna send out a letter asking them once again for them to contact us with a date that was convenient for them. They had called and said they'd be back in touch with us. They said they were more than willing to sit down and go back over the contract. They're not disagreeing that it's antiquated.
At the same time, they're delaying the process of a meeting. At the same time, we're paying, the town of Clinton's paying to house their prisoners, which I'm against.
Richard,
Do we have to give six, excuse me, Mayor?
no, I was just gonna ask him if he knew the amount of money that we've been expending. Does Mark have any idea?
Yeah, you could have a figure.
Yeah, you should get it.
As far as notice, you know, we have to give 6
We have to
months.
give 6 months' notice, and I think the chief has given us a half-decent recommendation. In other words, if we can't get a quick meeting with these people, let's let them know that we're gonna revoke that agreement, give them 6 months' notice, because the town of Clinton certainly can't afford to be paying matrons and excessive costs for monitoring.
Well, let's take the whole thing to court with them, on the contract and everything.
No, but Mark, I think, has the right idea. Let's give them 6 months, let them know that we are gonna.
They're not
revoke the
holding
agreement.
up to their end of the bargain.
For 6 months, we have to give them 6 months' notice.
You have to give them 6 months prior to the term, the
Right.
contract, expiring. The contract.
I think it can be
It's
worked
not-
out if we just sit down.
Yeah, but
Remember-
say, John, how long is it gonna take?
Just what we're
How long is
talking
it getting it
about.
for?
Give them an ultimatum, that's all. Just tell them to come down there and we'll go up or something.
To give everyone an opportunity to understand what we're talking about, I will read the letter from the Chief Levenger that he has sent to the Board of Selectmen. as pertaining to the lockup agreement with Sterling. Your board on June 27, 1990, voted to honor a contract between the town of Clinton and Sterling over the use of the police lockup. The town of Sterling has interpreted your decision to mean Clinton will provide monitors to watch over their prisoners and have sent back bills for these services unpaid. I am presently paying the matrons out of the Clinton police expense account. This unexpected expense has not been budgeted for and will cost the taxpayers of Clinton a significant amount of money. This decision was made without consulting this chief or without reviewing the history of Sterling's use of the Clinton lockup. I have contacted Mr. Montori, who has stated that a meeting between the two towns will take place to rectify the problem. This meeting has yet been held. It is my recommendation at this time that your board vote to terminate the agreement with the town of Sterling. This must be done by certified mail, return receipt requested, directed to the chairman of the Sterling Board of Selectmen. Sincerely, Mark R. Levenger, Chief of Police.
I'd like to add one point to that they have been notified of the meeting, Richard, right? So that should be included in there.
Also, in defense of this board, the contract, we just couldn't go, we had to honor the contract. Legally, the contract is enforceable, and we would be sued if we didn't honor it. But the chief does have legitimate. They have to have that. If they're over 5,000, a population of over 5,000 people, they have to maintain their own lockup. No, they've had it.
They will.
It's cheaper to use Clinton.
Oh, they're still using it until they have this?
Certainly.
Right.
And again, this board voted on it.
But I'm saying we voted only because we were legally bound to honor that contract.
How
And
much do they pay per prisoner?
we don't have those figures. The chief would, and the chief would be able to supply those figures. That's why. Excuse me? Yeah.
If I didn't want to break that contract, how much time? You're giving them 6 months. Is that in the contract?
I believe that's what it
6 months
says.
notice?
6 months prior to the expiration.
And when the board had voted, as Mr. McNamara said, on June 27th, we had anticipated a meeting between the two boards immediately. And we had one meeting, what we thought was scheduled, and Sterling broke that date, and we are still waiting for a commitment from Sterling to meet again. So obviously, it is a problem, and it is costing, again, the taxpayers money. And again, this vote that came from this board, we felt that we had to make that commitment to Sterling because of the contract. But we had certainly anticipated a meeting very shortly thereafter, and we're now into September.
Would it be wise to inform them that they can keep postponing these meetings, inform them that if the 6 months,
Well, I believe
the first
that's-
time they're notified is when it's going to start, if they don't honor it.
Well, that's what the chief is recommending, that we notify them that we are going to terminate the agreement, and
Yeah,
that
sure.
hopefully it will expedite a meeting. Obviously there are questions because, there's state statute now pertaining to what you have to do to a prisoner and how you have to monitor the prisoner, which obviously brings in added expenses, so it certainly wasn't there when the initial contract was signed. So
That's
there
true, but
are
I mean, Sterling certainly should reimburse the town.
And really, George, as bad as it is, we gotta have somebody over there, because anything,
That's the law, and nothing
yeah,
to do about it.
anything happens, it's gonna be on
Right,
us.
But what I'm saying is Sterling
I know
certainly
what you
should
mean,
reimburse
yeah.
the town for money already expended, just because the state says so. I mean, states always say something.
That contract, got how long to go? Another year? 2 years?
It's over a year.
It's over a year. I mean,
It goes to 90.
I don't think there's any problem with it if they pay for their way, but, that's what I mean.
We certainly hope we can come to an equitable agreement with Sterling.
And then after it's over, well, bye-bye.
It's a good idea. We also won't manage anything with the state mandates. Possibly Sterling could be reimbursed that way to pay us.
Give it enough, try it, good shot. Be a good shot.
We should get a meeting with them before the end of this month. If we don't,
Does the board want to take the recommendation of the chief? And send a letter?
And I'll go along with that, but I want to mention to Richie, I think probably in the meantime, is to send them a letter, and I send each one of them a registered letter.
Each member.
Each member, a registered letter with return receipt. And we'll have record that we've notified these people of this stuff. All right?
Do you want to turn, I think you want to get it in like 2 weeks out meeting last before.
We'll try the meeting too, I mean, anything to get it going, but I'd also notify them because, I mean, it's been dragging now, as Mary Chairman said, for 3 or 4 months since we've been around here.
Any, I'll send the letter out with the date, setting a date, try to do it at Wednesday night in Clinton, on the meeting, on the board meeting, yes.
Is that a moral motion? Are you saying we're contemplating terminating the agreement? Or we're going to
And I'll
terminate it?
state that in the letter.
Yeah, I'll make that in the form of a motion, and
I'll
also
second
to,
Set the meeting up and that we were gonna
Contemplate
contemplate.
terminating the
Yeah,
agreement, possibly come to some suitable financial arrangement. I'll take the recommendation, Chief, in 2 weeks, and terminate it if we're not going to be reimbursed.
move
Okay,
that.
motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. It's too bad because the other towns are all very,
Very cooperative, all the towns
we
are
have other
excellent.
towns over there that paying their way, so.
Been very good.
Of course, they have a problem up there right now, they don't have a chief there, but still, at least
This was long
somebody's
before the chief
handling it,
left.
somebody should be able to take care of it.
Yes, the selectmen's issue.
Huh?
The selectmen of the police commission.
Yeah, a woman there, yeah, this is, Barr.
Choose the original plan.
Yeah,
Richie,
James,
you done?
just on that other letter, you have any thoughts on the container? I think one of the reasons why he's looking for a container is, they don't, I'm assuming with them going out of town, with the trash, over the past year, they only come once a week, whereas before they were more periodic, so the barrels served the purpose. And now the trash is just building up and staying, and he'd like to get something that he can, that's bigger and that can lock. So no,
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, we grant the police chief's request for the container.
I'll second it. How big is this thing going to be?
3 yards.
Small.
3 yards.
Yeah, something that's gonna cost. They go anywhere from probably $400 to $600 for that size.
A year?
No, just for once. One,
Cost of it?
yeah, we buy it.
Oh, they're gonna buy it.
Yeah. I gotta see if, what I would really do is check and see if we can, I'll check with the Board of Health to see if it's, if we can get one for the truck. I don't know what the truck can take. I mean, to say, give a size of container, but I don't know what the truck can put on the winch and what room they have down there also.
So the child would be able to pick this up, the town
That's,
inspector itself?
that's what I would have to check into. I'm sure there's something that, there's some type of container. We have containers everywhere else, but they're not that small. They're bigger, and we don't want to get that big of a container. So I gotta see what they can pick up. And I'll check with the Board of Health and Franny on the truck, see if he had any suggestions. But they vary in price, anywhere from $400 on the low side and $800, but the one that size, the bigger ones are more. Purchase, yeah, provide all right.
Is this container going to be locked?
Yes, and that's what he wants, because right now there's barrels, there's a name onto the barrels. And he has something closed top that we can lock it, he'd have the key, and Franny would have the key when he comes and gets it.
3 yard trash.
Would it be placed out?
Purchased.
On the back. Yeah.
Purchased.
Okay, are there any other questions? Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. And there's just the other achievements in the calendar.
Right, that we can calculate, just to notify the board. So.
Which you want? Richard, you are on another new business.
Yes.
And then the board will go on to new business.
Mary, we're still under old business? I wanted to ask about.
Oh,
Oh, okay. I
okay.
thought you were in. I thought you were in. Sorry.
New business.
I'm all set.
Any other new business? Old business.
Last week, we had a request for a tree removal for possibly making gravel. Have we heard from that?
No, I have a letter by tonight's meeting.
I took a ride up that property, and I can't understand why he wants to put it in the driveway. He's already got a driveway. It seems like he might want to put it in the driveway over the town sidewalk, and I would rethink my position now that I see it's, looks like he wants to remove a tree just to give him access to park on the town property.
The superintendent was checking into that, and he's going to put a report together, and he's provided some information on driveway, information that other towns provide, people who want the driveways and what they need from the town regulations they have to follow. He was going to go to the site and check it again and talk to the gentleman. I thought I might have something tonight, but definitely next week's meeting. Because he saw there might be a problem, so.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is what it appears is a long driveway beside his house, like most people have. Then in the front, he parks in the front, parallel with the town highway, town Berlin Street. And it looks like he wants to remove a tree just so he can just keep parking there.
Right.
You know? In other words, you don't have to move the cars in and out of the driveway. In other words, he wants to create a driveway on the town property, which, so if that's the case, I won't allow him to take a tree out. It's for constructing a driveway, that's a whole different ballgame.
Under old business, we also had a letter from the Republican Town Committee looking for an appointment to the Register of Voters. Sorry, Tony, I don't have the letter with me, but your committee submitted 3 names. What's the pleasure of the board, haven't you? I don't know if the board wants to act on that.
Mr. Chairman, I'll love to entertain a motion to nominate Ms. Nancy Gerlach, who seems to be the choice of the committee, and I'd like to place her name in front of the committee and ask the board for a vote.
Is there a second?
I'll second that nomination. Since it's the name of the town committee, top name together on the list.
You too, Michael?
Yeah.
I'll second that too, on the recommendation also that the committee has submitted 3 names. As far as I know, second and third member are not interested in it. And the order of preference was you at first, and if the ruling comes that it is a recommendation to be voted on by the selectmen by authority of the town committee. So that's all I have to say about it.
Second and third name, not interested.
I don't know. From what I heard, they weren't interested.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Tony, you want a copy of this? one?
Yeah, please.
The board also has an opening for the custodian position. And the board like to act on that position.
Chairman, before we go into that one, I have one question to ask. Have the medical reports come back on these 2 individuals? Have we?
No, you would, It would be, they would take the physical after they've been appointed, but the position is not,
Oh, okay, I just want to clarify that. The medical will be taken after the appointment?
town hall and the police department.
I'll make a motion that we appoint James Nimittal to the position of Town Hall Police Station Custodian with the provision that he pass a physical.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Four in favor, is that?
The board also has various appointments to different committees, which do we have?
There's a sheet of handwriting on it. Right there. I know if the board wants to act on the annual appointments of the wire inspector and the building inspector first.
Which ones? Oh,
You
please.
said one on the building. On the building inspector, I would like to see the board come up with a definitive schedule of hours, and I would like to have at least another week to look at that appointment. If the board's so,
What did you say now?
just that I'd like to hold off a week on the building inspector's reappointment. And that's only a request the board can act on.
It's a legitimate thing, because he's considered a full-time employee, I think, and we don't have a policy on what our things are. We've got to get something down and right, and, you know, like I say, definitely going to address the thing, but I would like to see some kind of definitive what the duties are, or what his, hours are, like at least he gave us a letter this week stating that, dock him a couple of days for, sick time. We got to start keeping track of the personnel, as far as when they're out, when they take vacation. Something, if you're drawing something up, that'll help the town keep track of the employees.
It's all gonna be policies, employee files, track, time, hours of work, and so on. All of that. As far as the committees go,
Anybody wants to make a point?
is that satisfactory to the board, wait?
I can't hear you, Rich.
Just wait on the appointments.
What
until-
appointments?
For the wire and building inspector, and we'll get some job descriptions and
All right, that's all
policies
right
in
with me.
place. and-
But
I'm
I
not
think
really worried about job description more than myself personally is, they owe a little bit of responsibility to the town as to when they're out, when they go on vacation, when they're out ill, so we don't hung with the, 24-week sick leave policy, something like that. That's all I'm concerned with.
It's all right, we'll put them on for a week or so. I'd like to move on the others, though,
I would too.
if we can get some of them done.
On the zoning board, we'll start with that one.
Wait a minute, no. What a mess this is.
Zoning board, you have one member is up for reappointment, Gerald Wu, and you have one member resigned, so there's one opening.
Who's the applicant?
The applicants are,
Well, you want to take the reappointment first?
how the board would like to do it. ZBA. And again, just one for reappointment, one vacancy, ZBA. Due to resignation. Who would the applicant be kind of on a short time?
As far as I know, they didn't mean we're legal.
He's the only one.
George Desnowski, I thought I seen the card.
George Desnowski and Cynthia Rubio.
Has Mr. Houlet expressed an interest?
checked with him, he does. He said,
Who's that, Mary?
Jerry Booyer, I checked with those that were up for reappointment to see if they still are willing to stay on, and he said yes. It's a bit-
Are we
it's
voting on the
agreeable.
reappointment first? Is that-
The board's-
Richie, before you go into this, will you please explain to me who was on this board? I looked in the town report here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 evidently that have resigned or, yeah, that's, okay. I have it too, John. Oh, there it is, right there. Here, I got it. I got it.
I gave you these. You can see these.
Now, you're
So
telling
those
me
are all
that,
members.
you're telling me that Gerald Hull is not interested in the
No,
position?
he is interested.
He
He's
is.
interested in being reappointed.
And Billy Stevenson resigned?
Correct.
Okay, so you have two
1
appointed.
year left, Billy Stevenson's appointment.
Yeah,
So the appointment will be for 1 year.
so it's for 1 year, right? Okay.
And there's 2 applicants for Mr. Stevenson's position, right? Which are we voting on first?
Now, who you got for the 2 applicants?
Mr. Morabito and Mr. Dachnowski.
When the Duchnowskis come in? I haven't, the first time I've seen it.
They came in today.
Come in today?
Yeah, there was an opening, he was interested. No,
Okay.
Do you have Mr. Matthews?
Hmm?
You want to see him?
I have Duchnowskis, this is, I have Morabito, that's the first I've heard of this one. I think the members should be notified of these things, I don't go that.
Well, what's the pleasure on the reappointment?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, we keep Mr. Hool on the board. I think he's done a very good job.
Is there a second? No second to that motion.
I guess we're looking for 2 members.
Madam Chairperson, I'll put the name of George Osnowski and nominate him for a position on the ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Which position is this, John?
Zoning Board of Appeals?
I mean, for what, Gerald Moore's 5-year term?
Yes.
Evidently, there's 2 openings.
Yes, it is. Mayor.
So
One
this
is
is,
open.
one is for 1 year to fill Billy Stevenson's unexpired term, so we have to vote on the 5-year
All right.
term.
I'll
So
go for
this will
that.
be for the 5-year term.
Because of the fact that Mr. Morabito wrote a letter to us expressing interest, I'd rather go with the longer term on Morabito.
Well, no, that's, that was the one. This is the longer
The
one.
short term will make for George, that's what I'll make
Well,
the,
then you have to remove the motion.
Move
You
Morabito.
have to remove Morabito because this is for the 5 year.
He hasn't been seconded, so Morabito for 5-year term.
I had a second.
Oh, there's a second. I think
Mr.
it's-
Bates.
Yep.
Is this for Morabito?
No, I had made a motion for George Osowski, but I was thinking of the Mr. Stevenson's term, because that was the other position. We already went on John's motion, it was in a second, so I was going to the next one.
John, would you
That's what I
remove your
meant.
second?
What's that?
Would you remove your second?
Why?
Mr. McNamara wants to remove his motion.
No, Mary, I
No,
was thinking,
you
I
can
was
still do
thinking
it.
I was making my motion for the second position that was open, Mr. Stevenson's resignation.
Yeah.
Because of, and I thought we were going to go back to the other one that wasn't filled.
Right, he can continue the motion, then do a second motion to
I
fill
make
the
a
1-year
motion
term.
to
Yeah, but
appoint
he has to
George
be clarified
Osowski.
because she's saying it's for
Okay.
the 5 year, as long as that reflects in the records.
Right.
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen appoint George Osnowski to the unexpired term for, to the term that was open to the resignation of Mr. Stevenson. Whatever is left in the term, a year or 2 years.
1 year.
1 year.
I'll second it.
Because like I say, he didn't give us a formal letter until the last minute. He gave us a card and expressed an interest in being on the board. Mr. Maravito sent us a letter a long time ago.
So seconded by Bates for George Jeffers.
All in favor of Mr. Snowski filling the term of Mr. Stevenson
1 year.
for 1 year? How do you vote?
I vote aye.
It's unanimous. Now, we will now vote for the 5-year appointment.
I'll make a motion to appoint Anthony Maravito to the 5-year term.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Oh, wait a while. Okay, go ahead. That's the 5-year term, yeah.
You already have one? Yeah, I just did.
Now we need to appoint a civil judge for the Supreme Court.
I don't know if you want to make a motion because she was I hope the rest of them aren't as complicated.
The next commission is the Fuller Field Commission. There is no vacancy, but there is a gentleman up for reappointment for a 5-year term, and he's expressed interest in being reappointed, and that's William P. O'Malley.
I'll make a motion, we reappoint him.
Second.
Hold a minute, hold.
Oh, yeah, we're in discussion.
Huh?
We're in discussion, no problem.
All right. Fullerfield,
Page 16.
Yeah.
now see, that one hasn't any term in back of it, so this is a 5-year term,
This is
right?
for a 5-year term.
All right, wait a minute, I want to mark these in here. Motion's made and seconded, all right.
Second by John McIntyre.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Okay. The next one is the Historical Commission. And Mr. William Wood no longer wishes to serve as a member. Leaves one opening. The candidates for the position, there are 2 people expressed specifically to be on the commission. Now, Mr. Marcotte, James Marcotte, expressed interest in any board that the selectmen choose to find that could help out in other capacity. Yeah, he's living there. Yeah, he had asked for the historical commission there, as well as the recycling or any other position that the board felt that they wanted to serve on.
How many years are these for?
This one too, but he wants to be to conservation.
We have a Marjorie McGowan Hayes of 15 Belmont, I know.
Billy Woods
Gates
is
from
not.
2 Millbury Drive.
Oh, he's rich.
And Jason, he said he would serve on it.
Make a motion to appoint Eleanor M. Gates to the term that's open due to the resignation of some member of the guy that's up for reappointment.
I'll second that motion.
Who's the name?
Eleanor
Gates,
2
Mulberry Drive.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, the Fair Housing Committee that is appointed by the Board of Selectmen. It's a committee that the town must have under state statute and under state guidelines of the Mass Commission Against Discrimination. The committee meets to ensure that the fair housing policies of the town are being administered properly and that no citizens or residents of Clinton are being discriminated against concerning housing. It's a fairly large commission, and there are openings. I think presently we have, it's not in the book because it's not one, it's not a commission such as conservation, but there are terms. There are approximately 8 people on the committee. And the MCAD would like more than that on the committee. I'd like to get as many people as you can get on that. So people that are interested.
2 names.
There's 3 names, Jimmy. One, Debbie Goodsell is another. Debbie Goodsell.
I have Lisa Burke and Mary Krantz.
No, Lisa Burke. Yes, Lisa Burke is one. She has 3 of them.
Mary Krantz, the other one?
Yes.
And who do you want to add?
Debbie Goodsell. She had sent, given me a call some time back. She is interested. And I was appointed by the Board of Selectmen when we first put together the fair housing policy. I was appointed the fair housing director. And I think all 3 of them would be a great help if they're willing to serve on the commission. Mike, you had talked to someone that...
Yeah, I was just thought I had a name in my book, but I don't have it at home.
Okay. She works, one of the things about the Fair Housing Commission, they want a variety of people, not only people that live in Clinton, but work in Clinton. And we have a person that, now I have her name, Mike talked to yesterday, she works at Perkins School, she's very interested in serving on the Fair Housing Commission, and I think that's also a good idea, because you get the people in the business sector of town to help out.
The home they have,
especially
Clinton, she's very interested in.
The home in Clinton, she was very interested.
Volunteering, and I think this is fair housing and housing partnership is something really to get going.
And they both work hand in hand, and I think if all 4 of them want to serve, I think that's great.
Richie, I think when we're making out the town report next year, we all let us sit down and go over these and make sure they're all in place so everybody knows who's on these boards. And I think the boards that are not listed in here should be all listed in here. Now, there's one that I'm on, and that's an industrial finance board. I've been on it for 10 or 15 years, and it ain't even listed in the book, and I think it should be listed in the book. They all should be listed. I'm going to resign from that board next week. I'll send a letter in on it. And, I think somebody else outside of this board should have it. I will send a letter in. Within a week or 2, you can make an
3
appointment.
young ladies are gonna go on that, right?
If 3, and then that 4th from Perkins School, Cora, I've talked to her, and
Who's the 4th one, Michael?
Corey, I have her name at home.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, she works at Perkins, she's interested. I mean, I'd like to even get involved personally myself in those.
there should be a representative of the Board of Selectmen on the committee also.
Well, I make a motion, Mr. Ward, go on.
I'll second that.
I'd also like to make a
People
motion
want the offer
that the other 4 be appointed.
Why don't you just read the names off, Richard?
Mary Krantz, Lisa Burke, Debbie Goodsell,
Girl from the Perkins.
Perkins School, Cora.